Hi. Fancy seeing you here today. What are we talking about today, folks? We're gonna be talking about, you guys are getting a 2-for-1 deal. You're gonna get me talking about Exquisite Corpse. How that stroke taste? By Poppy's Z Bright. Here, just stick this. It looks so fancy in the background. And this book, The Girl Next Door by Jack, I wanted to say Ketchup, but it's Jack Ketchum. Gonna stick that. Oh, Baby Yoda, please. No, it's not gonna work. Here, we don't need my face. My face is obscured by that. Anyway, I have some explaining to do. I bought a book a long time ago, and it was Stephen King's memoir called On Writing, which talks about his writing experience. And I read it. I don't remember much about it, but I do remember one thing that he said other than write for 8 hours a day, as if I have that kind of fucking time on my hands. Jesus Christ, Stephen! A writer needs to do a lot of reading. You need to do I don't remember what exactly he said, but he's just it was along the lines of, if you're a writer, you're gonna need to read. And of course, when I read that the first time, I was like, loser, I'm not gonna do that. Reading's for nerds. I'm just gonna write books for nerds to read. With that in mind, I realized very quickly, as I've gotten back into my actual hobbies that I like writing, I realized that I'm stupid and I don't know how to write. That's so awful to say. But I'm writing a thriller, horror, spooky, oh no, there's blood everywhere novel about 2 serial killers who kidnap this girl. And I am halfway done with it, and I do plan on releasing the book for free, but I have reached a point where I don't know how to describe certain feelings except the same 6 ways that I know how to describe certain feelings. So I was like, God damn it, Stephen King, you were right all along. And now I have made a mission to go read some spooky novels like The Girl Next Door and Exquisite Corpse. There is a person on TikTok called Baker Reads, and they have a 5 most disturbing books they've ever read list. And so I was like, sweet, I'll just start there and we'll have a great time. I bought these 2 books and I read them out of order because Exquisite Corpse was number 4 on his list and The Girl Next Door was number 2, and I read number 2 and then was completely unwowed by number 4. So we got some warnings here for you today. The Girl Next Door features child abuse and murder, and Exquisite Corpse features serial killers and very hot and bothered times, if you know what I mean. It's sex. There's sex in there. Yuck. The first one that I bought was The Girl Next Door by Jack Ketchum. I believe this book was made in 1989 or something like that. I think it's like an 80s book. And the original cover looks fucking hilarious. Please, Pika, put up the original cover or have me send you the original cover because it's freaking funny. But The Girl Next Door is actually based on a real-life murder of some chick that I do not know the name of, and I'm not going to look it up. But be warned that everything in this novel happened in real life and was worse. Worse. It was worse. I will take away Exquisite Corp and we will put the fricus on this Jack Ketchum's book. The Girl Next Door is based on a real-life murder that happened in Indiana. This book is not set in Indiana. It is set in New Jersey? I don't remember exactly where it's set in. Just know that we're near a forest. That's pretty much it. This book is from the point of view of a 10-year-old who likes being 10, I guess. Now, the book is from the point of view of a 10-year-old, but this is more of an old person looking back at his 10-year-old self and being like, wow, this was awful. The worst even. And remember, this actually happened. Things were like tweaked for this story and there was like more to it, but the book, that's based on real life and you're about ready to get angry with me. This 10-year-old kid that I don't remember the name of, I read this book like a month ago. I was supposed to make this video a month ago. I did not make this video a month ago, so I'm not gonna remember any of the names except the name of the antagonist, which is named Ruth, my evil doppelganger who's in her 60s or something. Okay, Ruth is the main bad guy. Awful, horrible woman. She is considered the cool mom at the cul-de-sac. She lets the kids drink and smoke and be hellions, and therefore she has a lot of power on these boys. And she comes into custody of 2 young girls because her sister died in a car crash. You have the youngest girl who has leg braces and is pretty much really sick from the car accident. And then you have the other girl who's strong and pretty and so fucking cool. Oh my God. Anyway, as the book progresses, you learn that Ruth is a horrible, awful human being, and she starts abusing the shit out of the older girl, calling... I think I'm gonna pretty much skip a lot of it because I don't really want to relive everything. That's how much this book bothered me. But just know that Ruth essentially manipulates all the boys into torturing the girl. Like, I mean, they string her up, hit her, they use her as a tackling dummy. Ruth puts her in a boiling hot shower to clean her, and it gives her blisters. This, and the point of view is from the 10-year-old boy, and the 10-year-old boy is very conflicted about what's going on because there's an adult saying that this is okay, that we can do this to her, but you know, the whole morality thing that you're supposed to have tells you to maybe don't fucking do that, you piece of shit. So he spends a lot of time struggling with the morality of, do I tell my parents, or, and you know, do I do the right thing, or do I do what everybody else is doing because everybody else is doing it? And it's like 5 or 6 other boys and a girl are doing bad shit to this girl. Eventually it culminates to the 10-year-old. You know, I don't know if he's actually 10, but I'm saying he's 10. It all culminates to where the 10-year-old tries to help the girl escape, and it fails because the girl tries to save her sister before saving herself. Because she tries to escape, they like carve into her back that she's a whore and that she fucks or whatever, even though she's like maybe 14, 15, 13 in that area. You know. Anyway, this happened in real life, guys. This stuff that I'm telling you, this happened in the 60s in Indiana, and this, and the girl, she ends up succumbing to infection in her wounds and malnutrition, and dies before the 10-year-old can save her. And then the 10-year-old pushes Ruth downstairs. Now, I could go into more detail, and I was thinking about going into more detail, but the thing is, and the thing about me is that I have such a justice boner. I just want I see this situation and it's like so obvious to me, like, why didn't anybody say anything? People did say something and no one did anything about it. That's the worst part. In the book, the girl goes to the police and is like, this lady is abusing me, and the police just like, and then the police comes in at the end. The police are all upset, like it isn't, like she didn't go, like, I am calm. This is a zen moment for me. Holy shit, I'm starting to get pissed. In real life, the girl, I think people like actually called the police or something. Like, there was a lot going on, and a lot of people knew this girl was being abused because she was being abused in a similar way. Oh my God. There's a really big trigger warning at this very moment. Don't read this book if you have any attachment to your own delicate bits, because hers get burnt off with a fucking iron. Oh my God. That happened. That happened in real life. That specific event that I just said happened. That happened. Oh my God. Yeah, it happened. I'm going to give this book 7.5 out of 10. It's really well written. And it taught me a lot. It did not teach me what it wanted to teach me. But it taught me good things. Like, my villain is not villainous enough. That Ruth bitch is the worst. She makes me more mad than any villain I have ever read, ever. And I do think that most of my feelings are pretty much like exacerbated by the fact that it's based on a real life event. So I don't know if it's cheating for this book to get me as riled up as it has. But boy howdy, it is not a fun time to read about children torturing other children because an adult said they could. I do not recommend you read this. Well, if you like disturbing content and you like reading horror and stuff, go ahead and read this. But if you're a normal human who does not like to consume that media and that stuff don't read this. I read it in one sitting and I cried. There was just a point where I was like, there was just a point I was so frustrated, so depressed that I was like, I had to put the book down and there were tears coming out of my eyes and my boyfriend was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No." And I kept reading, and when I finished that last page, I threw the fucking book across the room, which I'm glad it didn't hurt the book. The book actually looks really great. I kept this book in a really good condition. 7 out of 10. Don't read it if you don't like disturbing content and if child abuse and torture bothers you. Like, I'm sure it bothers anybody. All right, moving on. Next book we're talking about is Exquisite Corpse by Poppy Z. Bright. And the thing about Poppy Z. Bright is Poppy Z. Bright has transitioned since the publication of this novel. From what the Wikipedia says, it's Billy Martin, known professionally as Poppy Z. Bright, is an American author. We're going to call... Billy wrote this book in 96. When was The Girl Next Door published? Hold on. Yeah, 1989. Hell yeah! I'm so good at these random numbers. Exquisite Corpse is about 2 serial killers. One is known as the Eternal Host, who is a serial killer. I don't think these are based on real serial killers, but this serial killer killed 23 boys, ate their flesh. No, did not eat their flesh. That was the other one. Yeah, there's cannibalism, by the way. I hope you don't mind that. Hope you don't mind the cannibalism. My Hannibal Lecter's coming out. I'm sorry, guys. The time period that this book is set in is like the 70s, 80s, LGBT scene, specifically the gay man scene, the gays. This is a very homosexual book. This book said, yes, homo. This is probably actually my first book I've read that it sounds bad when I say it out loud, but I think this is the first book I've ever had, like, there was, like, gay representation. And it feels icky to say because they're serial killers. But I also haven't read a lot. I'm going to put that out there. I have not read a lot since I was, like, 16, 8 years ago. And let's just say I'm digging myself a very big hole, but I have not read a lot of queer content, and I will change that. I promise you I'm changing that. It's just that this is the first queer book I've ever read. It's fine. I enjoyed this book. Because I did not enjoy the other book. I did enjoy it, but I did not enjoy it. It's really weird. Anyway, I enjoyed this book less. I should have read this book first and then that book, and then I think this book would have had a bit more of a punch. But let me just go ahead and explain what's going on. Remember, this is set in the 70s or 80s. This is set during the AIDS pandemic, HIV/AIDS pandemic. Andrew Compton is a serial killer in Britain who killed 23 young boys by luring them in. I'm sure he only killed adults. I'm positive he did. Only killed adults. Not that that makes it any better, but he killed adults. Moving on. he's killed 23 of them, and he's a necrophile, so he actually keeps the bodies, kills them, sleeps with them after they're dead. Gosh, gross. And then gets rid of the body, and then he got caught and went to prison, and that's where the novel starts. Is he's in prison, and then he thinks about how much he loves death, and essentially self-kills himself by just meditation. He literally thinks, yes, I'm dead now. And everyone believed it. Even the doctors are like, yeah, this guy's fucking dead. So he escapes prison by pretending to be dead and is in the autopsy room and murders 2 dudes who are doing his autopsy. And then he fucks off to, then he kills another guy for his passport and then fucks off to America. So that's what Andrew's doing. I'm going to catch you up on everyone else. Jay is a serial killer as well, but he's a cannibal and he eats people like a cannibal does. Tran is also a character in this book. Tran is getting over his very psychotic ex who tried to give him HIV because he got HIV. And his ex is also a character who still is in love with Tran and runs a pirate, they yo ho ho on some radio waves, and has an HIV, I think it's WHIV radio station where they pretty much yell about how no one's paying attention to the HIV and AIDS pandemic and being like, y'all suck, breeders suck. Tran comes out on accident to his dad, and he essentially kicks himself out because, this one really makes me sad because Tran seemed like a good kid. Tran was living 2 worlds. He was living his traditional Vietnamese life with his family and working at his family's Vietnamese restaurant, and he was living a nightlife of being gay and cross-dressing and stuff. And he comes home, also drugs and shit, because this is the 70s, and 70s was very much a drug culture thing. So he comes home after a rave that he invited Jay to, but Jay said no, which is probably good for Tran. And the dad, he's wearing a dress, and he walks in and his dad's freaked out, and Tran doesn't realize it's the reason why he's freaked out is because he's cross-dressing, and his dad found these letters from his psychotic ex, which was very, very dark and psychotic. And then the dad implies that Tran is going to hurt his younger siblings, physically or something. And Tran was like, okay, I'm just gonna kick myself out then. So he grabs all his shit and splits. And then Tran tries to stay at Jay's house, and then they do some sexy stuff together, but Jay stops it because apparently anytime Jay does the hoo bits, he wants to do the El Stabberino with a knife, not a penis, because he actually doesn't want to kill Tran. So then Andrew shows up, and he's at a bar, and Jay's at a bar, and then they collide, and then they're super gay for each other. Love that for them. So Jay and Andrew get together, they hook up, and then Andrew sees Tran, and he's like, yo, I want a taste of that booty. And Jay's like, but no. So we're hunting Tran now. And we catch Tran, and then we drug him, and Tran realizes that he's about ready to be murdered, so Tran escapes right into the police, who then beat the shit out of him, too. And then our friend who does the radio thing, oh my god, Kat, shut up. Andrew escapes, Jay dies, Tran is dead. Lover boy is alive and very sad. The end. That is it. So you know how I didn't really have much to say about The Girl Next Door? The only thing I have to say about The Girl Next Door is that the book was made in the 80s and 90s, so I don't know, it's a product of its time or whatever, but I do find it not in great taste of basing your novel on a real life event, because it feels like you're piggybacking off of like an event that happened. So like I already have a base level of upset because I know this is real, and then you can heighten it. Like, I don't like that very much, but it was, you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? It's very, I'm not the morality police, and I don't know if it's good or bad, but like, it feels not great. This book feels like it's trying really hard. I feel like I said, I should have read this book first, and then I feel like maybe it would have been trying so hard, but it doesn't feel very natural. It feels very shock and like, aha, I have stabbed someone, and then it's dripping down my thigh, and blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, I get it. Okay. But the thing is that the descriptions are also really good, which is a lot of what this book is. This book is about descriptions of terrible things very beautifully. Is it my thing? Not really. I actually kind of needed to force myself to finish this book, while The Girl Next Door I read in one sitting, which I guess kind of shows how interested and more into The Girl Next Door than I was for Exquisite Corpse. I am going to put this up there. I am not exactly what one would say great with the hot and bothered scenes and stuff like that. While asexuality doesn't really matter on whether or not you can do sex stuff, I'm almost like borderline sex repulsed. So anytime I read that, I'm just like, oh, I'm not having a great time right now. This is not cool for me. So a lot of it is that, because this is, I feel like a lot of shock. So I was having a lot of, and the two serial killers are just disturbing people. Like, the Jay is a cannibal, but also really likes the smell of death, and he gets hard at the smell of death or something. I don't know. Ugh. What I did learn about this book, though, is that I could think more about describing my shit better. But other than that, I didn't actually learn anything from this book that I really wanted. But I did read it. I did read that. And not exactly, I'm indifferent that I read it. It didn't really make me mad. I see why some people would really like it. Like, some people, like the person that I got the list from, really likes that book. They are allowed to. You are allowed to read this book. Would I recommend it? No, probably not. Unless you like disturbing serial killer horror content, and you don't mind a lot of flowery language about blood, that sexy stuff, and murder. Judith. That was the two books that I read. I was going to do two separate videos, but I don't actually remember these books very well, so I figured I might as well slam them into one video. But I don't actually recommend these books because they are not a fun time. However, you like horror and you like disturbing content, I'd go ahead, read Exquisite Corpse first, don't be me, and then read The Girl Next Door. I think that it would be much more enjoyable if you did it like that. The next book I'm actually reading, which the moment I'm done with this video and I'm done editing a TikTok thing, I'm going to be reading this. The next book I'm reading is this, Neuromancer by Willian Gibson. This is, okay, let me read the back. William Gibson revolutionized science fiction in his 1984 debut, Neromancer. The writer who gave us The Matrix and coined the term cyberspace, produced the first novel that won the Hugo, Nebula, and Philip K. Dick Awards, and lit the fuse on the cyberpunk movement. Essentially, this guy made the cyberpunk genre. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I have the whole series because a friend sent them to me. My friend was like, you need to read these if you're into science fiction. And I was like, I'm not sure what I'm into, so just send it to me. I thought he was going to send me his copy. Alas, he sent me new copies. What a lovely human. It's probably because I'm really getting that, I'm really getting that, like, dark academia vibe. I got a lot of books. Oh, I read Good Omens. I don't think I really need to talk about Good Omens. Hold on. Here. This is like a bonus feature. Hold on. Good Omens. I bought this book at Goodwill for 5 cents. 10 out of 10. I love it. I love anything that makes fun of religion, but in a good and humorous way. Like, I didn't like Dogma. That movie felt very, mean-spirited, and kind of sexist. So I don't like that. But this shit's fucking funny. This shit's good shit. If you haven't read this, you should. Very British. These two are like the best British authors ever coming together and being like, haha, let's talk about the end of the world. Essentially, I'm not going to tell you anything because this is a good book and I think you actually should read this. I'm not going to make a video about it. This is just a bonus feature of me telling you, I give this book a 10 out of 10. Is it perfect? Probably not. Is it perfect to me? Fuck yeah, it is. This shit's funny. This is my shit. Okay, I did read this. That's right. I am also trying to, I'm trying to read a lot of disturbing content so I can get good at describing disturbing content. So I read The Girl Next Door, and then I read Good Omens, and then I read Exquisite Corpse, and then I'm reading Neuromancer. So I feel like, and then I'm gonna get Veracity. It's a book. It's more recent. It's about a book. It's about a person who is who's essentially a ghost author for a author who is in a medical coma or something like that and doesn't look like she's going to get up. And it's like apparently really disturbing. I don't know much more than that. No spoilers. Shut up. And that concludes the second installment of Why Did I Read This? With the 2-for-1 deal on the bonus feature of the good book that I read. Maybe I'll do that. I'll just read a whole bunch of shitty. These are not shitty. I take that back. Disturbing or shitty. Like if you guys were like, hey, read 50 Shades of Grey, I would definitely need like 5 feel-good novels after that. Anyway, I feel like this video has gone long enough. So thank you so much for watching. I have a Patreon if you want to throw money at my editor. $1 a day feeds a Pika. Throw $5 at Pika's face. That's where my Patreon's going. But if you cannot do Patreon, go ahead and watch other videos that I've done. I need more watch hours in order to become a partner of YouTube so I can gain shrekels, the tiny pennies that YouTube will give me for ad revenue. You can totally word of mouth me. Wait, that sounds gross. You can show me to people. I love you so much. I'll see you guys in the next video. I have no idea what I'm doing next video. Okay. Goodbye. You know what I got? You know what I got? I got one of these. Do you want to know what those books made me feel? It made me feel like this.